in the top 4. See that. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 4 boomers talking about Siege. That was a segment we had before. Now it's Na'Vi versus G2 to see how the young'uns can actually save themselves in this one. Fluke. My beautiful friends are on the analyst desk to talk details. And how about we start with G2, a team that got so close yet so far from the top 4. Super gassed for G2 versus Na'Vi, says Mr. Chadwick. And I agree. I'm super stoked for this one. I hope that lives up to our ideas for it. So let's go. G2 roster. We got to go into game. Hopefully the players are actually in at the right time. Let's go.
It's a true question, but yeah, G2, a lineup that started out pretty strong in stage 1, even though, of course, they suffered a loss against Secret on Playday 1. However, when they managed to find themselves in that top 4 spot, everything went downhill. They lost to Empire 7-8. They lost to BDS 4-7. And yesterday, they lost to Rogue, giving away all their chances for a top 4 with a 3-7. So it seems to be going downhill quite a bit right here for G2, especially if you look at that round performance. It's not really going up that much, and the win rate also dipped below 50% as we entered the Super Week. It was exactly on 50%. So the question is, can G2 wake up, or are they going to fall yet once again?
I hope they do, because Virtus.pro are right above them. They overtook them after our previous game, and Virtus.pro are now at 5th place. G2 at 6th, so higher up you are, the better you are in terms of SI points and the cash and the whole lot to move on forward. Currently, number 1, the big boys, the big champs of EU. It's the UK squad of Na'Vi. What an impressive season for the UK Massive.
End up UK on top. Try and argue with that. Rest of the world, no, it's been good. It's been very good from Na'Vi because they're a team that had the potential for good for such a long time. Okay. This is a different roster to the one that obviously had a lot of the troubles and lifted the trophy once upon a time. It's not really the same team. Saves was the only one on the stage at that point, so it's been a big overhaul. It's been a lot of soul searching, and they've finally found a rhythm that has led them to the top. It hasn't been, you know, the kind of clean sweep that we sometimes see. One team just has a phenomenal season. They have scarpered, they've stumbled, they've been in OT a couple of times too against a mix of teams that have kind of put in big fights and battles. But it's been a good season to be a Na'Vi fan, I'm feeling like. It's just, their plays have been fun, they've been electric, they've been leaning into this aggressive meta well, and they've been doing it with a very upbeat attitude. One more day in dance today, but already they've cemented themselves at the top of the board. So for the first time in a very long time, this is one of the few games where it doesn't really matter who takes this. It's already set, it's just play for the sake of the win.
And with Na'Vi, you got Doki secretly in saves. Old players within the system, of course, saves having played a lot in the Polish scene and in Challenger League way before getting into pro play here at the top league in EUL, with Blur and Nathan, who've really showed up as rookies this year. Blur being considered the rookie for us here in stage 1. We'll see how things move on in this year. Our head-to-head is we have a couple of minutes ready before we head into game. Our lobby is set, and you guys picked Nathan and the Yak. What's the comparison here, Mr. Hoppers?
Well, I think Kayak is a very crucial player for G2. Besides the 6 clutches you see right there, he also managed to put 6 plants on the board. And the kind of angle we wanted to go for here are impactful players for both these teams. And well, Kayak definitely did that, even though his rating might not be 1, his KD might not be positive. He did win a lot of rounds for G2. And when he does it, he still has a good impact.
And obviously the history of these two players. That as well. Yeah, it's 2 players who have obviously come up from the UK scene. Surprisingly, a scene I'm very heavily invested in. And, you know, it's fantastic to see them being able to put in these performances on tier 1. This is their first time up here doing the dance. And obviously they were 2 big players for Kavana and Eminem. In CL last season, they've been able to make the jump up here. So as the 2 new additions from these 2 long-storied and rival teams, and, you know, Kayak's been on a mess of teams, and Nath was with Eminem for a long time as well. They're finally getting a chance after proving themselves time and time again in the UK League. Again, I'm massively biased, so take this entirely with that. But it is such a competitive league. Go watch it if you get the opportunities, because look at the amount of UK talent that is now inside this tier 1 and that is able to hit the ground running like these two have. All the love in the world for all the UK players.
There you go. You know, you could call it biased or not, but it is simply the truth.
Biased.
It is the truth right now. And so the bias is supported by facts, as Hap is always keen to point out with the numbers, though. Which map will we be playing on? Because our lobby is set again. Show me the money, people. 7-map pool, wall down with coastline. Wait.
I think he loses his mind, but I'm not sure.
It's Ace and Jess. This is a game off.
Jess doesn't get it.
Lucky for him.
Okay, so lucky for him. So there it is. G2 starting off on the defense, Navi on the attack. What do G2 need to do to win this very quickly?
A bit of confidence, I think, is the fairest way of putting it as the opener. Coast is an aggressive map, always has been. It's an aggressive meta, always hasn't been. This is one of the reasons we haven't seen it so much. Yesterday we saw, I think it's the fairest way of putting it from G2, there were mistakes. And those things happen. Brain farts happen, miscommunications happen. It's how well you can pick yourself back up. It's in no way easy to come back and get confidence. And you've gone to the map where confidence is king. So it's going to be a bit of a tough day if they can't get some early moments.
Gotta work on their synergy, their defenses, their attacks. Like, everything has been a bit scrappy. They just need to be more well organized. So if that all starts with communication, then let's see that happening here today, because the last games have been very, very scrappy from G2.
If I'm G2, I'm watching my flanks.
Classic. Well, we're back to our faces, and something that I really want to bring up about that particular map ban phase was, well, Ace, it looks like Na'Vi wanted to get rid of the 2 maps that were the most popular maps and some of the only maps that G2's played this season. And if you guys have been on the Twitterverse in the past 24 to 48 hours, there was a little bit of speculation that the only reason they've been playing those maps is because they were able to hide every other map in the map pool outside of Villa, of course. And guess what? Na'Vi said, well, if we ban them all, then you're forced to play a brand new map. And that's why we're on Coastline.
Well, it's certainly going to call for an interesting game one way or another, because we don't necessarily know what to expect from G2 here. I mean, do we really think that Vincere trying to save 5 maps all season? I'm not too convinced. Obviously, you've got to focus on your performance within the stage first and foremost. You've got to think about that next SI. You can't just think about the current one. So I'm sure that maybe there's just a little bit of preference there on the side of G2 rather than just trying to hide everything in sight.
or whatever it is, it doesn't matter because now is their last opportunity to prove that they can make the top 5, because really that's all that they're poised to get at this point, Ace, and that's something to really drill down here for the viewers. Na'Vi, they've already got their first place. They could have the fun of the day if they wanted to. They could absolutely just tear away with some random awesome strats for us here, or they could play serious. It's entirely up to them, and just because they go off meta doesn't mean they wouldn't play seriously, but that's something for G2 now. I want to get that 5th place position back in their hands. That's all they can do. So these bans, it'll be pretty usual for this map. Dokkaebi off the board, Nomad as well. It's going to promote a bit of aggression and flanking. And the Valkyrie, I mean, this has got to be one of the most banned defensive operators on this map, Ace.
Yeah, I think it certainly does. We'll see the second defender coming in very shortly. I would expect Mira, maybe Maluse. Mira it is to go. Now, I mean, looking at these two, you could look at it in terms of the standings, Jess, and we can say, yeah, there's not too much going to change here. You know, Navi's locked in first place. I'm sure they are going to want to celebrate that with a win. They don't want to be tying BDS. They want to send a message here. They want to be getting some clear space in between the two of them. But let's not forget as well, it runs a little bit deeper than that between these two teams. You've got Na'Vi. You've got, of course, Citizen used to be on the Na'Vi lineup. You've then also got Kayak, who's part of that UK scene, will know these players very, very well. And there's a lot of history between the two of them. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bragging rights on the line as well. So they're going to be coming in here looking for the dub. There's no two ways about that.
Attackers need to locate.
I wanted to try go back and have a look at the compositions we can expect from Na'Vi, but I have nothing. No Yukin, no EUL for this season. I'm just sitting here completely empty-handed. I mean, that's probably the best spot to be in as an analyst as well, or a color caster, is you can sit here and you can go, hang on, I don't have anything to look back on. This is all brand new intel for me to work off of here, and you're getting it live in front of your screens. That's what I like. I'm not seeing anything too out of the ordinary here. Kanto going to be hitting onto the Vigil. I mean, that's a really important operator on this map to evade all of those drones, but alongside it, they'll have Virtue on the Mozzie to try and, you know, further escalate the drone economy here. And that's why you'll probably have Nath rocking that Ying. That was 6 picked onto, so I don't think G2 are aware of this.
Probably not. I mean, the Kanto Vigil pick, as you say there, he's going to be looking to waste as much time as possible, wriggle himself off into the map, and you can see there just activating his scanner and then dipping it off. He's just keeping himself off the drones, but it's also about sending a message to the attackers. It's saying that there's somebody in this area. We don't know exactly where. We're not going to be able to see him. We're going to have to come in here and face check it, and that just slows everything down. And alongside that, Kanto, of course, is going to be looking to pick up a nice early frag or two. Now, Na'Vi, they are looking to approach pretty route 1 towards site here, Jess, going straight in towards Blue Bar and Sunrise to attack onto Kitchen.
Well, fair enough. Why not? If you want to try and get some of that cross control, that power position and that angle towards the Cool Vibe stairs, this is where you need to be. Uno will be the first person to be taking those gunfights if they do want to hold on to this Cool Vibes and this Blue Bar and Sunrise position. He knows secretly he's creeping on up, and he can hear the player just above him. Makes a lot of sound here, and as they bait the shots from Kitchen Door, secretly will get swung on by Uno, and now Uno has top 4 control, but Nate, he lands it back onto Kayak. And that's going to be the kills that they need back and forth for now. But this is a kill-heavy map here, and Nate, he's attempting to get some kind of vertical control, some kind of vertical shots. Unbelievable. It is scrappy already.
It's going to be scrappy for the next, I would say, 12 rounds, but who knows how many we'll actually see when this shakes down. Citizen finds one onto Sayers. Virtue gets in on the party as well, but Blur, he manages to lock down 2 from Blue Bar. Big plays from Blur. He gets himself out of the window to safety for the time being, and that leaves Citizen inside of sight now. It is 1 versus 1 already. This is just sending a message to me of exactly how this day is going to go. The diffuser is down cold on the ground. That is a point in the credit of G2 here in round 1. Blur, he'll have to go into sight to collect it, and Citizen's got his eyes locked on it at the minute, but may have had to just dip away with that flashbang coming in. We can just see them both now fencing with each other, just back and forward, trying to bait movement from the other and just try to get the location or any information that can help them in the fight. Now, Blur, interestingly, he's going to try to rotate around. I think he's got a good idea that Citizen is playing inside of the bathroom and service here, but he's going to take shots through the soft wall. It's all going to come down to this door challenge. Out goes the flashbang off the door frame. He looks to catch the rotate, but no, Citizen dips himself into sight, keeping himself unpredictable, pops out and gets that kill onto Blur. G2, they open things up with the win, and Citizen showing a little bit of passion at the end there, Jess, just checking the function of his gun there as he goes out of the kitchen.
A little bit of a thumbs down in the player cam there, and that's what you love to send. We love a little bit of trash talk here and there, a little bit of BM, and I think for Blur, who's been, as the analyst rightfully said, the rookie of the season thus far, he's one of the highest rated players in the entire league, so shout out to him for having a brilliant start to this year. I think that's going to send quite a big message from Citizen, who is right up with him in ratings. In fact, if I refresh this page right now, there is literally 0.02 of a rating between Blur, the top of the league, and Citizen, the second. So these two players are not only going head-to-head in the server right now, but also head-to-head in the ratings.
There's so much depth to this game, Jess. There's so much depth to how and why these players are going to want to win. Now, Uno, he's on the Aruni, just opening up that rotation. We're going to be heading to Hooker and Billiards as our round 2 site. Looking at the defensive lineup, we've got a Warden pick in there, Jess.
I like the Warden pick, and the reason that I do is, for the most part, I mean, if there's going to be a lot of flashes coming out, then sure, you can bring the Warden. I do expect, though, that they probably bring in the Warden more for the Ying. The Ying isn't existing in this round, and maybe they thought it would, persist, and that's why they want to do it. Oh, can we get a zoom up on this Aruni, please? I know we have our beautiful Observer medics right now. Can I... Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is special. People are going to be like, what? They just put a bulletproof on the wall. Nuh-uh. Aruni stabs the wall twice, makes an indent in the wall, and the only way to shoot a bulletproof and cease its existence is from the side. And if you've put it inside the wall, that is almost impossible. That is so intelligent.
So he's going to guarantee now that they have to use gadgetry to clear that out. It's going to take a nade, it's going to take an ash charge, it's going to take some utility being burnt on it. Otherwise, the information will be fed out, but saves. He has all the information he needs. He has Uno heading through the kitchen door, shuts him down with a headshot. Kanto manages to trade it out, though, and that is surely a call out from Uno as to where that kill came from. But Blur, he now looks to find Kanto in a ring around the roses, and it's a deadly game as he finds his man. And once again, we are away to the races here in round 2, Jess, with kills raining in. These two are just wailing on each other. This is a brawl as Dorky finds Citizen.
You know, why not, Ace? The biggest thing for me is that you've got nothing to lose as Na'Vi, and if you're G2, you're only getting, what, an extra 500 euros for the trouble? Why not make it a big bang here today? Virtue, last one alive. He shoots the drone, and surely that gives away his position. Look at the silhouettes. They're everywhere. They'll surround him. He'll go down, and Na'Vi will take round number 2. And I tell you what, if these rounds keep going as fast and as furious as this, then you and I are both becoming play-by-plays today. There is no time for any analysis. It's all action.
Oh, there's not going to be time to breathe inside of this one, Jess. I'm just hoping that this one turns almost like a love letter to the fans just here. Enjoy this spectacle as we just come out and toe-to-toe swing at each other.
My goodness, that's what you want in a game, especially on a map like Coastline that is infamous for its aggression, for its output of just crazy plays. You will almost always see a line. For whatever reason on this map these days, I'm not sure what the indication has been for teams, but locking out those roamers in this big rectangular map is the key for these attackers. And well, so far Na'Vi, they've been successful in one of those rounds. And happy birthday, Mono!
I want to say a big happy
birthday, Mono. Yeah, we want a happy birthday, Mono, in chat, guys. A G2 fan, heart at heart by looks of it there, and well, they don't want them to lose because, well, G2 can't lose now. It's Mono's birthday.
No, he was saying please lose to Na'Vi. It's his birthday.
Oh, it said please
I think maybe
lose?
He's wanting to guarantee the top spot for Na'Vi, but that's already done, so maybe that tweet is not withstanding anymore. I mean, one way or another, Mono, happy birthday, but yeah, I'm not sure we can hang the result of the game on that. On a birthday
I thought it said please win. Please, not please lose. God, that changes my outlook of Mono now. Happy birthday nevertheless.
I will stand corrected, but off a quick read, I'm sure that's what it said. We may be misrepresenting at this point, but
I know.
what can we do? Heading into round number 3 then, we are into the action phase. We're going to see Blue Bar and Sunrise is the defensive site of choice, and it looks like Na'Vi just slowing down a little bit this time. Round 2, they were absolutely herring on in there and looking for those early kills, but they've just settled this time. In go the drones, they're looking for that information. They know that they can't get away with that every single time, because G2 are going to be prepped and ready for it. So this time, due diligence being paid. We're nearly a minute in, and okay, he's still sending in the Gemini drone. There's still information being gathered.
And that's exactly what you need, because look at this Kanto, because he does have that ERC to work with. It's going to make it difficult, and he can run around during those EE1Ds. That's what you're seeing him do right now. They've spotted him out. They can see that all of those scanners are popping out, and they know that he's somewhere within this area. He is getting shot left, right, and center. So much pressure being applied to Kanto right now, and he cannot be the fragger I know he once was. When you are being outnumbered 3-1, Citizen, however, he might make the difference, and Virtue will swing around into luggage. And there's just so many angles that these G2 players have to look at here, Ace, because my goodness, not once had they been able to have an engagement one-on-one.
4 versus 2 already to Na'Vi. We're only just at the halfway point here. We're nearly at the halfway point of the half, where we're going to have 3 of the quickest rounds that we've seen all stage. Kayak, he manages to find secretly led prone in the 90 corridor. That's going to get 1 back in the favour of G2, and Virtue manages to find another with a headshot onto Blur, leaving us 2 versus 2, but not for long. As Saves, he's able to lock down Kayak and give Nath the opportunity to get the diffuser down on the ground, and that will be the case. So it's all down to Virtue on the Jaeger now. He needs to find 2 kills, and he needs to get a disable on this diffuser, but with only about 40 HP left, it's going to be a big ask. And he can't answer the first question as Saves poses a riddle to him. He does not have a response, and Saves, he will lock out the round for Na'Vi. They come back from losing the first round and find themselves now at a 2-1 advantage.
I don't know what we're seeing, because it is this game is absolutely a spectacle, right? You bought your ticket, you got golden class seats, as we would call it in my country. Gold class is what we call the big fancy cinema with the big chairs. You get the really fancy meals, and it's a huge screen, very luxury, right? That's how I feel. You and I have sat down on the luxury chairs, and we're just sitting here commentating over a spectacle that is whatever this matchup is so far. It's fast, it's furious, and it is absolutely exciting.
I've got to ask you, whilst you mentioned the subject, Jess, do you have meals at the cinema in Australia?
If you go to the gold class, you can order
actual food. Because this was something I experienced in the US, and it's just not something I've ever seen in the UK. Like, there was literally tables and everything. It was bizarre.
No, we're not like that. In a normal cinema, you only have the candy and the popcorn and the soft drinks, and it's not unless you go to the luxury cinema. So, yeah.
Well, we'll move on from the differences in cinema from continent to continent. We'll get back to coastline. We're right back into Ibiza. We're round 4. We've got Na'Vi 2-1 at the minute, and we're heading back to Kitchen now. So far, it's been an absolute bloodbath here on coastline. There is no other way of putting it. This is certainly more of a weekend getaway than a 2-week break. Let me put it that way. Na'Vi, they are not looking to spend too much time here at the Ibiza resort. They are getting themselves inside quickly, chasing down those roamers, and they are finding frags right now, and it is certainly showing up on the scoreboard as they have a 2-1 lead. Now, again, quick progress being made in towards that top floor. We are on a kitchen site, so Na'Vi looking to secure top floor, and then they will start working with some vertical angles secretly on the sledge. He's already poised to get himself inside a VIP, but he needs to be careful because he's got the Maestro of Kayak underneath the window.
How annoying must Kanto Racketti's ERC be? Because for the most part, he has been absolutely wasting time at the attackers. Not that time's really been a problem here for Na'Vi, and well, anytime he does waste, it ends up being rather short-lived. The pinch capacity here from Na'Vi has been unreal. This kind of pressure doesn't come very often from teams, but you'd expect it from the top-rated team here of Na'Vi. And my problem is that do they have enough C4s to work with? Considering they've just expelled both, they've both not done damage. There's only 2 more impacts and nothing else left for G2. So if you're looking towards the tactical prowess that they are going to be able to employ, that pre-play C4 will do a heck of an amount of damage to Secretly, but he is still standing. And well, that's more than can be said for most of the G2 players if we're looking back to the past couple of rounds.
Definitely a slower round here as we find ourselves at the halfway point, 5 versus 5. No opening kill to be found yet. Blur just holding a long angle there from Hooker down towards the site. Okay, again looking for vertical pressure, just opening up the wall there towards the service door, potentially looking to support a plant inside of the door, but there's going to be a little bit of time needs to pass yet. Uno and Citizen just being locked in place on the Cool Vibes stairs. No choice but to hang around and vibe for a second as that E1D scan prevents them moving. Of course, any footfall would show up their location then. They're looking to try and clear out this top floor, but Blur, he knows they're there. He's going to lock them in place. The question is he going to push them at the same time? But Kayak, he pushes a bullet through Nathan's skull as he finds the opener. That's 4 versus 4 as Doki manages to get one of his own. Citizen, he knew exactly where Blur was then and manages to put G2 in an advantage once again. But this is the same as every other round. It's just wailing on each other. It's just going back and forth. Kanto able to shut down Doki, who was trying to get the diffuser down and doubles down with a kill onto Secretly. This one looks like G2 are all but certain to tie up the scoreline. 17 seconds left to go and it is 3 versus 1. Saves has it all to do. Peppered from above by Kanto and he will be sent in the kitchen to be fried, cooked and finished here in round number 3, 4 even, and that levels us up at 2-2.
No wonder you were confused. These rounds have gone so quickly, Ace. Honestly, at this point, we would only be in round 2 or 3 of a quote-unquote normal game. So for me, I have been sitting here going, unbelievable. The speed, the velocity that Navi's been going into the map, and then the unquestionable aggression back from G2 has been great. My question there was, and I don't know if you spotted something that I didn't, but how did they know someone was standing on the billiard table holding the flank there? There's no cam in there.
Citizen was certainly ready for the challenge, wasn't he?
Right, and it was shooting through the hookah wall as well. And I thought to myself, oh God, that's really good game sense to know that someone's in billiards right now to shoot through the wall. Look, they obviously had intel of some kind, not sure what it was. Be interested to know if maybe it was a Mozzie drone or something to that effect. I didn't see any yellow pings, so either way, but nevertheless, 2 rounds apiece, back and forth it seems that these teams want to go. And we said this the other day in the first half from G2, things went really awful for them in the second half. I don't want to see that repeated here today.
Absolutely not. And we're going to be heading into round 5, and it's certainly ahead of time of when we might have expected to say that, but here we are, and it's entertaining, if nothing else. This is almost a pinnacle of the coastline meta. Just get in there and get kills. Just find the headshots, find the gunfights, and take them. Now, we're going to be heading to Hooker and Billiards this time around. Kayak will open the hatch there, just allowing an option to drop down into office. We can see Virtue playing underneath. We've seen this position used quite often with a nitro in hand.
Yeah, this will be a really good position there for Virtue. He can have really great impact if he wants, whether or not it's someone running into office or above into Aqua. Big power position a lot of people don't realize is this sort of kitchen hold that a lot of players employ. But let's be honest, a lot of teams don't extend this far when they're playing this hookah site. So for me, this is quite a big extension. A lot of people will hold underneath, but this seems to be something that G2 really wants to commit to, and they must know for a fact Na'Vi wants to come in from this area.
Again, a lot of pressure being applied to the service entrance. Kanto just holding an angle onto there. Kayak playing just outside in the corridor. He'll be able to see through as well. He'll be able to just peek in and out of that doorway. And we can see 5 versus 5 still. Doki taking a lot of damage. Does get downed on a run out and shut down by Virtue. Manages to just dip himself back outside to secure the kill. He wants the numbers. He wants the pain applied to Na'Vi as Uno gets a double before being traded. And this is G2 going big once again. This is absolutely anybody's. You can't fall foul of an ADS that's right at your feet though, Jess.
I can't believe that plan's gone down. The attackers look like the defenders and the defenders look like the attackers, as both of them will swarm onto site as the defenders were below. Doesn't give them any opportunity for a retake if they can hold the flanks, but Kayak, he'll be able to use that Aldo to great success. You know what? I'm speaking a whole other language here, Ace. It doesn't even matter. The retake was inevitable, and Kanto will finish them off. And as they do a little dance to find the diffuser, don't do this, medics. Medics, Medic, stop. I'm getting seasick.
I believe he calls that the hap now.
He does, because Hap was the first one to sort of start spinning the wheel around during the observation and show us that the awful outcome that you can have when you do that.
Well, hopefully we won't see too much more of it, medics. Don't want Jess being sick on cast. That's not what we need here. So coming into round number 6, then we're going to be looking towards Blue Bar and Sunrise. We are absolutely rattling through these. Na'Vi taking any opportunity they can to get the diffuser on the ground, even when they're at a man disadvantage there, Jess. As you say, the question's got to be asked, how does it go down? We're almost having a complete role reversal here inside of the server.
Especially when you're a 2v4 or whatever that ended on. How are the attackers on site and not a single defender is there? Why were you could have fooled me that they were playing Bar and Sunrise there, and they weren't. They were playing the hookah side. I was thoroughly confused, but I am very entertained because I enjoy teams, especially ones that are in tier 1 and they get an opportunity to be experimental. You don't oftentimes get to see in a competitive matchup the way that teams do get to experiment. They do it in scrims. They're not publicly available, and for the right reasons, of course. Now they get to come onto our screens here and show us a randomized version of strats that are either off meta or brand new. I'm all for it.
Head into round 6. Then we're going to look at Blue Bar and Sunrise once again. This was won by Na'Vi last time around, back in round number 3. And if I remember it rightly, it was an absolute bloodbath. We had kills within the first 20 or 30 seconds. Now, Na'Vi, they've played it a little bit slower over the last couple of rounds. They know that they can't keep going at that pace constantly if they want to get the win. They already have top place secured in the league, but as we said, what better way than to crown that off with a win against a team like G2, who can, I'd say, fairly reasonably be described as rivals to Na'Vi. Now, Virtue, he gets the opener this time with a nice headshot onto saves through the office door. That's just going to halt the push directly in towards site, and Na'Vi, they're going to have to focus a little bit further away before looking to push in.
That's a good opening pick there, and I think Virtue, he's not often the Jaeger player for the side of G2, so it's good that a couple of roles have been shifted around to accommodate this frag-heavy map that it can be. Yellow pings will come out, but no one is there to collect, and that's a late one, so it will give the false information. And as the pings come out from above, it will give the position of Nath away, and that'll be the Pulse's job to just confirm that's where they are. But one of those grenades will end up connecting, and no! Uno! He'll grab Nath, who was on a drone below, and that's a really good pick here, and a lot of this is being fed from intel. I don't want to detract any way, shape, or form from the fact that this is scrappy, but a lot of the scrappy blood fest that you're seeing on your screen is built off of the intel, both from drones and cameras.
I hate those moments, Jess, where you're in your drone and your screen just starts lighting up red, and you know that there is absolutely nothing that you can do. You get out of your drone as quick as you can, but you know that it's already too late, and it was for Nath as Uno locked him down. Now we're going to see a challenge onto the office door. Virtue, can he find it? He puts an awful lot of shots into secretly, and he locks down his third of the round. What a battle to come out on top of, and he does so with about 7 or 8 HP. Absolutely hanging to life by a thread there. Doki looking to challenge in now. He has to go route 1 versus 4. He knows that there's a man around the corner. Finds 1, finds 2. What a flick onto Virtue. It's lucky for Doki that he was low health. He goes in there, clears out the bulletproof cam, but the information has already been fed back. They know where he is, and it will come in from the cool vibe stairs. It's Kanto who shuts down Doki. It was a valiant effort, but he just didn't quite have enough to secure the 1 versus 4. There was just too much chip damage, and it just took 1 shot from Kanto to close down round 6.
This is like fighting fire with fire. I think what G2 had worked out was Na'Vi was pushing the site and pushing the map very fast, which is easy to do on coastline. I will give you that. But it does not change the fact that every time Virtue heard a door getting open, a window getting open, he would shift W at it and just start spraying the carbine at full capacity. So shout out to G2, who worked out that, hey, guess what? If we just start running at them with the same speed that they're running at us, maybe we can outdo them in momentum. And that's clearly what's worked, because this first half has given them the 2-round buffer to work with here. And that's pretty good when I don't know what the stats are showing at the moment. I'm pretty sure I can scroll down really quick and see. But yeah, this is slightly an attacker-favored map. It has evened out recently, but we don't have a lot of play days to sort of go through to work out what it actually is, Ace.
No, G2 at this point, Jess, are just looking to spoil the party here. They, you know, we've all seen that person who crashes a party. They're not invited and they turn up and just make a nuisance of themselves. And right now, that is what G2 are absolutely hell bent on being to Na'Vi right now. This should have been Na'Vi's party for taking the top of the league, but G2 are saying, you know what, you can have your parade, but we're going to come in and we're just going to rain on it a little bit. It might only be a shower because you still get that top spot, but we're going to do what we can to take the shine off it.
Nothing changes for Na'Vi. We can't stress that enough, but things can change for G2, and people are wondering, well, what does that even mean? They can take the 5th spot right out of the hands of VP again, the same way that Kayak took the round away from Doki, ripping his head right off of his shoulders. Really good. But Doki was attempting a spawn peak, so a little bit of karma in that one. But I do have to stress here, if you guys are wondering what the difference is between 6th and 5th spot, it's only 1,000 euros, but it is a bunch of SI points for next year, so that's the most important point.
Certainly is. Now we are 4 versus 5 after Kayak found that opener. G2 taking the advantage once again, and so far it's been difficult for Na'Vi in the early rounds. They really haven't had too much joy when it's come to getting that man advantage. G2 are looking like a different beast to the one that we saw yesterday, where they really did struggle to get themselves a result against Rogue, but here they are looking electric, and they might just feel like they've left it 24 hours too late. It's maybe not quite the normal sort of play style through the first few rounds that we might have expected from both teams. They've certainly come in and just absolutely gone for each other rather than focusing on those strategies, but it seems to be slowing down in pace a little bit now as we find ourselves towards the half of the round. No kills to follow up on the opener, and G2 just a little bit tentative about staying inside of the building. They've got inside, but they seem to have dipped back out again.
Why not? I mean, look at these kind of crossfires being held over towards security as well. G2 making it look a lot more of a usual game than we had seen in the first half. Na'Vi, we said they had speed, they were fast and furious, they got into the building quick, and they were answered with that kind of same ferocity that we saw from their opponents. My problem here is that G2 has slowed down the momentum considerably. We've made it to the 1 minute mark and only one person has fallen. That is probably the slowest round thus far. Nate wanted to speed it up. He couldn't wait, but he'll get punished for it.
Uno locking down the headshot there, and Uno going very well today. 5 and 4 so far, certainly up there in terms of the fragging. But you look across the G2 board and they're all getting involved here, but there's absolutely no choice about it with the way that Na'Vi are playing, because they're moving fast, they're moving aggressively, and they are challenging all over the map. And Kanto, he's going to be shut down this time on the Ash. 35 seconds left to go, and G2 need to start thinking about the execute here and just exactly how they're going to get that diffuser inside and safely down and activated on the ground, because the sand is moving through the hourglass, the time is ticking away, and it is going to be the 6th man for Na'Vi at this rate. Now, Kayak, he makes a move to go inside and do exactly that, but he has to come off the diffuser very, very quickly. Now, secretly finds his way around the corner, but he's shut down. Citizen and Kayak have angles on the remaining 2, and they close out yet another round for G2, and that leaves us 5-2 G2.
You love it when it all aligns and the stars align for you, Ace, because that was a really good one. And I believe there was someone who spun a little rhyme together in the APAC playoffs just before. So we have our own rhyme masters, our own M&Ms of the region.
Anything
lack of better phrases.
Jess, you know, we've got to make sure that we're up there.
Yeah, no, but exactly. I mean, I'm not sure I get to hold the same torch as a color. You don't necessarily come out as the replay master, but I will say that it's been extraordinarily difficult to analyze this match, because I know for a fact that Na'Vi are trying to peak and play as aggressively as possible. This is the most aggressive Na'Vi we've seen the entire stage. Do I think if this was a game that had some serious stakes to it for Na'Vi, they'd be playing differently? Yes, I do. So for me right now, I think they are giving a crack at all different things, and now's the time to experiment, because you got not much on the line to lose.
Well, you don't get that opportunity too often either, you know, in a sort of full force competitive game. Like you say, you know, you've sometimes got to see, right, what happens if we get aggressive here? You know, how do we hold up in those sorts of gunfights? And right now, not too well, as G2 have been able to shut them down at almost every turn. I've got to call it as I see it, Jess. And right now, the scoreboard says all that it needs to. 5-2 in favour of G2, and they've been coming in, they've been getting the opening picks, they've been getting themselves the man advantage. They haven't been falling foul. They've certainly switched on, they focused in, and they are looking for a full 3 points here from Na'Vi now. Saves, he's holding an angle. We can see Na'Vi again getting hyper aggressive. That is Nath and Saves both looking for peaks at the same time. Neither of them successful, which shows exactly the level of attention that G2 are paying, and Virtue pays plenty of attention to Doki as the Malusi tries to dart across his line of sight, and Virtue finds some beautiful long-range shots to take him down.
I can't believe Nath is still committing to the white window spawn pick. I mean, what was that, 35 seconds in total? He stood there and tried to commit to that. Shout out to him. That's a lot of discipline. My problem is for G2, for the most part, if you looked at the Virtue kill that he got onto Doki, all G2 has needed to do, rather than fight fire with fire the same way Na'Vi did in the first half, was turn around and go, hang on, all I need to do is hold an angle, and at some point, a Na'Vi player in the next 20 seconds will probably run past. And they're absolutely right. They're getting gifted, and they don't really have to do much about it. Look at Virtue's position now. He knows Nath is likely to drop down. He knows that's why he's in that position to be able to hold this. And like I said, a lot of the G2 players are getting away with just holding angles. Free kills.
Virtue, as you say, just holding the angle, waiting for that potential drop. Nath, he's a heartbeat away from doing it and giving him the kill there, but he looks to be moving forward, if anything, not inching backwards. But Virtue, he's just going to bide his time. Virtue will get him eventually. It was just a game of cat and mouse, Jess, and the cat certainly catches his prey this time, bats him about and closes him out. Kayak, he's going to be shut down on the aqua balcony. He's just going to drop, and he's, for the time being, his health is ticking away, but there may not be an opportunity to collect him. They're going to have to go up there to get the diffuser, but I'm sure they're going to be very aware of the potential for Kayak just being baited there. He's in a tough spot next to that double door with the lines of sight that come in from sight. We've got Blur looking to move his way through luggage here. He's going to see if he can take advantage of this, and that's exactly the angle he's holding on the window. Virtue is aware and will put shots onto him, and Virtue, he doesn't seem to be able to do a thing wrong right now. He's holding the cover as Uno picks up the man, and that still leaves us in a 5 versus 3. 30 seconds left to go. Diffuser is in the hands of Uno right now, and they're in a position, G2 here, to move in and get this diffuser down. Saves, he's going to find one onto Kayak, shutting down the last 20 HP that he had, and he doubles down with a kill onto Kanto, but it is still advantage G2. Diffuser in hand, and they have got a reasonable amount of time at 20 seconds. Uno goes in to get the diffuser down now. He's planting a little bit off brand there, Jess, but he's doing it to keep himself alive so he doesn't get hit with the explosives and denial, but he doesn't need it because the plant will not be successful simply because G2 find the kills before it needs to be.
That round had no direction for me from the start. I mean, Virtue getting that opening kill, I thought, okay, this bodes well, and then things slowed down a lot. And I wasn't sure if G2 were going to commit to that plan, whether they're going to commit to hunting the kills out, whether Na'Vi would just run at them, as I suspected in the early round. It was a very, very hard round to call. And I think for G2, they expected hyper aggression. They got that in the early round, but as it got to the mid and late round, players like Saves, players like Secretly, they were holding back. And so they were considering that time might be a problem. Gets down to the 30-second mark and boom. There you go. If you've still got smokes in pocket and a double window player, then there is still a lot to play with, and that's why they got away with it. They're going to try it again, though. And for G2, they could repeat what they did last round, or they could just go straight to sight. And I'm hoping they do, because they saw how well it went when they did focus on the objective. They could repeat that here on match point.
I don't think G2 are too worried about the flanks right now, Jess, to be fair. You know, we saw Virtue shutting down the attempt from Blur to get himself into luggage. They just seem extremely aware right now to G2. They're doing absolutely fantastically well and really coming out strongly here. 6-2 says it all. They are going to run over Na'Vi in quick time if Na'Vi cannot do something. Let's not forget, 1st to 7 will win it, and there is no more room for mistakes here from Na'Vi. They have to get every single round for the next 4 if they want to take this to overtime. And that is going to start with Hooker and Billiards. Now, G2, that just says how aware they are of the way Na'Vi have been playing. They go in Jess, and they shoot in the common peaks. They are already expending ammo on those barricades to prevent themselves getting hit with headshots in the first 20, 30 seconds of the round. They're having none of it.
And fair enough, for G2 as well, you got to remember it's these SI points they'll get if they win this match outright. They will steal that 5th place position right out of the hands of VP, who only narrowly managed on their very last Playday to get it. So for me, that is the biggest talking point here, is that Na'Vi, they'll still get the same money, the same SI points, but this game does mean something for G2, and that's why walking away with such a dominant win here, not only is it confidence right before SI, but it will also be all of those important next year SI points that they will be hunting for.
Of course, it's all about maximising the returns at this point for G2 and just trying to ensure that they're not in a situation whereby they have to go through open qualifiers, for example. You know, the goal has always got to be to get there on points so that you don't have to go into that sort of the mix-up, the ringer of the qualifiers. Now, Kanto, he's holding a tight angle. He's going to be shut down, though. That's a great kill from Blur. Knows that his man's there and just peeks around that Hall of Fame door to lock down the kill onto Ash, leaving us 4 versus 4. And this, it really hasn't given us a second to breathe here, and that pace continues as Blur, he gets hammered in return. Citizen able to get himself in through the main door, and that is the double team. That's the tag team action to shut down Blur and leave us 4 versus 3 coming towards the final minute.
Poor Secretly, he's been the last line of defense round after round after round, and once all of his roaming players dwindle, and there are many of these aggressive players, I'm surprised Doki is still alive with about, just under 60 seconds left. It's been very difficult for him to try and play this numbers disadvantage game, and for G2, that's exactly how they want it. No wall denial on the quad wall, so Secretly will be left exposed, and as a result, he'll have to snake his way over towards Aqua. Lucky the double door's not open and no one's challenging that one just yet, but that definitely looks like it's going to yet again be the exact same ingress spot here for G2. Beautiful nade from underneath. Doki gets a kill onto Virtue, and now in a 2v3 situation, a C4 in here for Doki. This could be possible. They're going to be careful for another nade underneath, and he'll get another.
What a masterclass coming in from Citizen, getting himself 2 kills. Doki says it all in the chat. Heat Seeker, and that is exactly what he is. Shutting it down. G2 now 3 versus 1. 5 seconds left to go. It's all down to saves. The diffuser starts going down. He finds 1. Leaves him now 1 versus 2. Can he lock down what would be a massive clutch? Out go the impact nades, trying to take down any damage he can. Uno, he has a little bit of chip damage, as does Kayak, but no, it matters not, as Kayak is able to find the shots through the rotate on the reverse angle, shut down saves, shut down the game, shut down coastline, and take 3 points for G2.
After their game yesterday, Ace, they desperately needed to show the G2 fans out there that it was just a little blip on their record. It doesn't indicate the G2 we all know them to be, and they will overtake Na'Vi today and be able to secure themselves that 5th place position. I haven't checked the head-to-head between Rogue, but I believe they don't possess it, so as a result, they will sit in 5th position. But the analysts will be able to confirm that, I'm sure. But for me, that game, as we said it in the very beginning, Ace, was a spectacle of frags. And I found it very difficult from a technical position to be able to analyze that one, and that's when you know it is a great, entertaining game.
To be honest, I always thought that it was just going to go one way or the other. There was never going to be a 6-all, a 7-5. It was just going to be a landslide in one direction or the other. It strikes me as like we have a label on like fireworks and stuff here in the UK, and it says light blue touch paper and stand well back. Well, that was this map. That was always going to be this game. Just light the fuse and just stand way back and watch the entertainment in front of you, and that's exactly what we got. So let's pass it back over to our analysts. They can have a little breakdown. I'm sure they'll have some comments about how entertaining and exciting that one was. G2, they take the win over Na'Vi.
Thanks so much, Jess and Ace. And honestly, I turned my eyes away from